We're going to look at using the law of sines and cosines to find all sides and all angles in a non-right or an oblique triangle. So let's start with the warm-up. Let's say we have a triangle with three sides, A, B, and C. Can you find the measure of angle B? So you should start by drawing this. Say we're a triangle. Oops. We don't know what the angles look like, so I'll draw my triangle. And let's say we have 37 is the largest side. That should go across the largest angle. So here's 37, and that's across from side C. If side A is 32, that would be across from angle A. And if side B is 25, that would be across from angle B. So you have triangle ABC here. Find the measure of angle B. Well, if we're solving for angle B, we have to start with side B, and that would be 25. So you have 25 squared equals the other two sides squared, 32 squared plus 37 squared, minus 2 times 32 times 37, times the cosine of angle B. So if you're solving for an angle using law of cosines, remember you want to find your three chunks here. So you'll calculate 25 squared, 32 plus 37 squared, and 2 times 32 times 37. So I got 625 equals 2,393 minus 2,368 cosine of B. Do not combine the 2,393 and the 2,368. Instead, get rid of the 2,393. So we'll subtract 2,393 from each side. And we'll come up with a negative 1,768. And that will equal negative 2,368 cosine of B. Next step, get rid of the negative 2,368 by dividing by that on each side. And you'll get a decimal 0.7466 is about equal to cosine of angle B. Leave that in your calculator and do the cosine inverse of that to get rid of the cosine. So do cosine inverse of that answer, or this right here, equals B. And angle B is about 41.7 degrees. Let's round that. Well, we'll leave it. 41.7 degrees equals angle B. So today we're going to take a look at doing the same thing that we've been doing the last couple days, except instead of just stopping at one side or one angle, we're going to find all sides and all angles. So here's the first example, and we're only going to do 2 of them. And then you'll practice more in your assignment. Find all sides and all angles of this triangle right here. So first thing you should check is it a right triangle? It's not, because we have 148 degrees from one of the angles. Second thing you should check is, can you use law of sines? And here we don't have a complete ratio. We don't know one side and its opposite angle, so it tells us we have to start with the law of cosines. Let's pick one to solve for first, a side or an angle. And here I'm just going to choose to solve for angle C first, because solving for a side, you just plug into law of cosines and take the square root. So we have C squared equals our other two sides squared, 5.2 squared plus 12.8 squared minus 2 times 5.8 or 5.2 times 12.8 times the cosine of angle C, which is 148. Okay, next step, it's solving for a side, so we can just type this whole thing in right here, and we'll get C squared equals about 303.772. And to get rid of the squared, we'll square root each side. So C, side C is about 17.4. Now we have a complete ratio. We have side C and angle C, so instead of using law of cosines again, which you could to solve for angle A or angle B, law of sines is faster. So I'm going to use law of sines, and I'll just choose to solve for angle B. So law of, so this is the first step, law of cosines. Second step, law of sines to solve for angle B, since we know side B. So I have sine of B over its opposite side, 5.2. Oh, that doesn't look very good. So sine of B over 5.2 equals our complete ratio, which is sine of C, and C is 148, over its opposite side are the 17.4. We're going to cross multiply and solve for sine of B. So we'll go this way, and we'll go this way, and we'll get 17.4 sine of B equals 5.2 times sine of 144 will give a number answer, and that number answer is about 1.58. Divide each side by 17.4. So we'll get sine of B equals, I'm sorry, this is wrong. So when I cross multiplied and I divided in one step, I got sine of B is about 1.58. And now to get rid of the sign, so again I cross multiplied and I divided in the same step to get the 0.158, which is 5.2 sine of 148 divided by 17.4. And then B will be the sine inverse of this answer. So if you type that in, I get angle B is about 9.11 degrees. I'll have to double check that to make sure that's right. But if that's right, and I'll double check in a second, if B is 9.11 degrees, then we don't even have to use any laws to figure out angle A because we know there's 180 degrees in a triangle. So then step 3 is you take 180, subtract your two angles, 9.11 minus your 148, and you'll get your last angle, which is about 22.89 degrees. So again, when you get a problem like this, when you're solving for all sides and all angles, you only have to use law of cosines once, and then you should have enough information to use law of sines or the fact that there's 180 degrees in a triangle to solve for the other sides and angles. So it should be law of cosines, and then probably law of sines, and then maybe using 180 degrees minus your two angles if it's a missing angle that you still need. Let me just double check my cross multiplying really quickly. So 5.2 sine of 148 divided by, I should see what mode I'm in. All right, so let me try it one more time. 5.2 sine 148 divided by 17.4. Yep, that looks good. All right, let's do one more problem. Again, hint, you only need to use law of cosines once. Then you'll have enough information to use the law of sines and the fact that 180 degrees in a triangle to find the other sides and the angles. So let's do one more. Solve for triangle ABC. This is side, 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 so we have to use law of cosines first. You can pick what angle you want to solve for first. So I just chose angle A. So if I'm solving for angle A, we start with 8 squared equals 6 squared plus 7 squared minus 2 times 6 times 7 times the cosine of A. Okay, now this is the one where we find our 3 chunks. So I have 8 squared, 6 squared plus 7 squared, and we'll have this chunk right here. Calculate each one of those. We'll have 64 equals 85 minus 84 cosine of A. Again, don't subtract the 85 minus 84. This is like 84x, so you can't combine them. Instead, subtract 85 from each side. So we'll get negative 21 equals negative 84 cosine of A. Divide each side by negative 84. We'll get cosine of A equals a decimal. So whatever that decimal is, take the inverse cosine of your answer here. And when I did that, I got A is about 75.5 degrees. You could round up to 76, but this will be more accurate. So 75.5 degrees is angle A. If I write that in, now I have a complete ratio. And now I can use law of sine. So here was the first step. Second step is let's use law of sine to solve for another angle. So you can choose what angle you want. I just chose sine of B. So sine of B over 6 equals our complete ratio, sine of 75.5 over 8. Cross multiply and divide. And when I do that, I get 0.726 about is equal to sine of B. Take the sine inverse of that. So sine inverse of your answer, use your answer key in the calculator, equals B. And B is about 70 or 46 point, if I round, 6 degrees. And the last step is if we want the last missing angle, so this is 46.6, we have 180 degrees in a triangle. So here's step 3, take 180 minus 75.5 minus 46.6. And I did round, so you'll get about 57. I got 57.9 degrees. If you round to 58, it should be okay too. So about 57.9 when I plug that in. So there it is, using law of cosines, law of sines, and the fact there's 180 degrees in a triangle to find all sides and all angles in a triangle.